Hello, Assalamu alaikum. A wonderful day all of you. Welcome to Institute. Joining us another live session, free international webinar in IGP. We have successfully completed our 321 webinar. Today I will be presenting webinar number 322 and the title is The Role of Higher Education from Pandemic to Endemic. So without delay, let's welcome our speaker. Today we have a powerful speaker from India. Let's welcome our speaker, Shobik Ganguly. Hello, sir.
Good evening, Kamral.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, good evening, good evening.
Sir, give a short description about yourself and then
Okay,
sir, give a
okay,
short
fine.
description about yourself and then start your presentation.
Okay, okay, fine, fine, fine. Uh, Good evening to all the participants in India. Good evening to some participants in the different Asian countries, and uh, a very good morning to any participant who is present in the European nations or maybe in US. So, myself, Dr. Shobik Ganguly. I am an assistant professor serving in the Department of Electrical and Instrumentation Engineering for the last 12 and a half years at Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology. So, I have a mixed background. So, as to say, I did my BTech in electrical engineering, did my master's in mechatronics, and found control system to be one of the research areas with which we moved ahead. And it has been a long time since I'm associated with Harper Institute. We will tell you about the research publications a little bit later and my areas of research where we can collaborate even. So, topic of today's discussion will be on your role of higher education, which we are all facing consequent to the years, and we are calling it pandemic to endemic. So, why we are calling it endemic, and there are certain terminologies that we have already come across while teaching the students online. So mostly we will be having diverse participants from different areas, be it in the education sector, be it associated with business, be it associated with the jobs. So we'll expect as our expectation that we will be focusing mainly on a few areas, say for example engineering education, which I'm already in, and how we had been practicing our online lectures, how we are managing our online lectures, and how we are successfully delivering our online lectures as well. Apart from that, we will also talk about some of the developments which have taken place due to the pandemic situation. Like, say, for example, we have the conferences being organized in hybrid mode where there is an option that you can present it virtually. We have the participation through some short-term courses, some webinars. All we all have been practicing, and as you may see that how IGP is doing these days, conducting almost 322 webinars. It's on a daily basis. Every evening we get engaged with these type of vibrant webinars. So with this, we will talk about how we can explore our research areas, how we can get to the research developments, or because we cannot stay close to our rooms, and we cannot, we have to work, we have to move our way forward. So of course, definitely, how to go about it, we will talk about that also. We will talk about some of the evaluation techniques that we are adopting, and probably if you are teachers at the other end, definitely you people are also being adapting. You may listen today itself from my discussion, or you can take it forward to your evaluation pattern, or you can include it in your evaluation scheme as well. So this is how we will go about it. So first of all, we will come across a recent statement that came in some of the electronic media that no more mask and vaccine mandate. So Europe starts considering COVID-19 as a flu and asks people to live with it. So this is one of the statement that we came across, I think, in 12th Jan or something of that sort. And uh, almost 3 days back, I have gone through this particular post and read this particular post, that what it's all about, and what are the restrictions they are following due to the outbreak of the Omicron variant of COVID-19. So with this, we can go into this part that we, although we are having restrictions still on in our country, and maybe in your country as well, but and we, with the seriousness, we do maintain, we do sanitize ourselves, we do disinfect ourselves, our clothings or something of that sort. So whatever we had been maintaining, but still how many there is a lighter side to it also, that how many booster doses or how many COVID vaccines will be invented in the years to come. I just read a very nice article today in the morning itself, saying that there are several variants, these are being named, and we will go on infinitely to using such vaccinations as well. And of course, you may well understand that there cannot be any vaccine to any viral infection. So far, we haven't seen any viral infection or any viral disease that is having any vaccine being implemented. So this is, of course, we have to some time take a note of it, and at certain point of time, we must also behave maturely, and obviously, our government and our administrators will definitely have something of this sort. So that this is basically based on the lesser amount of severity that we had in the pandemic situation due to the outbreak of this Omicron. So there was some prime minister from, I think, Sanchez from Spain, who had come up with this particular statement that we have to start living with this pandemic, in this pandemic situation, and we have to call it an end to it, right? So it should be an illness as simple as flu. You should take your home isolation for 7 to 10 days, and they're also decreasing. You find that the quarantine period is being decreased. All of a sudden, it has dropped down from 2 weeks to 7 days. In my state, it's 7 days, and maybe up to 10 days you can take care. And there is no repetition of the test to be conducted, that whether you are COVID negative. So this is another important highlight that has come up recently. So because we are facing some of our in our buildings, in our apartments, we are facing some COVID problems already. So there is no advice from the doctor that you should take an RT-PCR once again and get yourself tested that you are COVID negative, and then you can go out. So it's a simple advice. You take medicine, you take rest, adequate rest, you take come out of the fever, you come out of any other complexities, and after 7 to 10 days, you can be going to work. So seeing this particular guideline, there are several nations in Europe as well, especially Denmark, UK. They are already calling it that we are transiting from from the pandemic situation to an endemic illness in the form of a flu. It's nothing but a flu. So every time they mutate, every time your COVID-19 is mutating, it is growing weaker and weaker days. And as you can find it from the severity of the recent variant as well. So, keeping in that into mind, and whatever we had been practicing, because almost COVID uh, has been in our life for almost 3 years now. It's almost 3 years down the line that COVID has started its uh, first I think, in January 2020. I think it was detected, and maybe in December end 2019, and from where it started, and it is almost 3 years now. So we cannot stay indoors for 3 years. Our schools and colleges or universities cannot remain closed for almost 3 years. So we have to sometime take a measure, or universities or administrators or your government, everything, everyone has to take a counter measure corresponding to the fact that we will be moving on for a certain period of isolation and then move ahead. And in our recent university, we had an outbreak amongst the first year and the second year students. We went online, and gradually, as the things will turn definitely good, definitely we'll have it on offline, in offline mode as well. Now, with this, we will shortly introduce the different types of uh, lectures, or what are the different modes by virtue of which we have been following, or we are getting used to it, and how our pandemic has changed us and our higher education scenario. So mostly we will emphasize on that. We will talk about some of the digital platforms or digital learning, how we are able to get the maximum benefit out of it, how we are able to access the different university professors' lectures online, how can attend it, and how can get the benefit corresponding to this. So, with this, we will move ahead for the main part of our discussion, that is the role of higher education from pandemic to endemic. So, we are calling it an endemic, but of course, we have to take precautions. We have to follow certain protocols, and we have to uh, obey certain guidelines that is being directed by our government or our university or our institution where we are serving as well. So with this, we will start, and we will take up the discussion, and it will be a little bit prolonged session, as there are no other speakers today. So it will be a prolonged session till 7 o'clock, and after that, we'll be having some quiz. We'll be having some question answers from the participants as well. So with this, we will move ahead, and let us see that what are the changes our pandemic has caused and our higher education has been doing. So we have already switched to uh, digital learning, or our educational strategies, our perspectives, everything has been changed due to this particular pandemic situation. So how will it impact, or how will the things go about, or what are the different types of modes in which we are operating, or every educational institute, be it school, be it college, be it universities, how they are adapting to the change. So it is a difficult time for even the students as well as the teachers to conduct the classes online and to engage them also fruitfully, so that at the end of the day, when they'll be going for the placements, uh, they will be definitely not suffering from the placements as well. Placement scenario today in our present institute, we have a great improvement in our previous months, uh, following last year records. So placement records were not very good last year, but this year and ongoing placements, they are taking place fine, and provided the situation does not turn worse, so that we are not in a position to look at uh, the different perspectives, that how well they have learned. So far so good, but things can turn worse, and we have to take adequate precautions for that also. So, with this, we will move ahead for the different types of courses which your pandemic situation has encountered, or mostly I'll discuss about the professional courses, or into the engineering courses which we are in, which involves a lot of practical courses. And we will also discuss about a little bit about the master's program and how we are managing basically to maintain the master's program thoroughly, and so that the students are able to get maximum benefit and at least learn the things as well. And about our PhD requirements, definitely the PhD students, they are also suffering. Those who are having their hardwares, they definitely are not being able to. So we will try to address this particular issue as well, because how to do it alternatively so that your research is not suffered at the same time, because you may be having from problem with respect to the logistics support, or some instruments are supposed to come, that is been getting delayed at the logistic end. So these side of real time difficulties that we are also facing, and how to come up and how to make an alternative inroad, and how to have the discussions or the flow going, because often it may create a frustration in the minds of the students as well. So first of all, I'll take up the professional courses, or the engineering, to be more precise, that how we are maintaining. I think I could recall for the last 3 or 4 semesters I have been teaching first year. So currently we are all are associated with the first year of engineering, which are who are entering and who are in the concept building phase. So we should always take care that the concept building phase is not being disturbed, and how we can able to engage them really in the classes, in the online lectures, because several lectures had taken place online. But I had been fortunate enough in the last semester, we had plenty of offline lectures, and after that the COVID outbreak took place, and finally they will be moving for the exam. So our classes were completed. After that, the outbreak took place in the hostels. So your definitely uh, we should sorry, excuse me. So we should definitely get on with the things and try to engage our students, so that they become responsible citizens as well, and they become professionally trained at the same time. So it is really challenging for them to adapt to this new situation which they had been undergoing, because our school education, or our 10 plus 2 education, is the formal education that the students are having these days, are now in online mode as well. So mostly they have been getting some relaxation due to the exams, or maybe the exams are not being conducted. They're getting some weightages for the marks they have secured in their 10th standards. So things were going in that fashion, and gradually a transition is of course taking place when they are the first year. And I have been fortunate that we have been teaching first year for the last 3 semesters almost. So this time I have been excused from first year. So currently I'll be teaching second year and a post graduation course. So definitely when we are teaching a first year course, and normally we do not teach them through the PPTs, because uh, they are in already in transition from their schools, and they are entering into an institute or an university. So obviously the first breakthrough that we have to move around is how to engage them in our lectures, how to make them participate in our lectures, how to make them uh, uh, give in order to break the monotony, how we are adapting certain poll questions, or certain breakout room arrangements in the Zoom platform, and how we are able to tell the students some practical aspects, and whether because nowadays Google is at the fingertips, so obviously everyone will have the access and easily check on that what are the practical implications. Say, for example, when we are discussing about some metering equipment that they are supposed to use in their laboratory experiments, but fortunately we had this time the experiments offline, And we have been, because it was a course on electrical engineering, so of course that particular course required some hardware experiments as well, apart from the simulation studies. So we had been able to get some time, a good amount of time, say 6 weeks or 8 weeks almost, to get them clear with the concepts of the practicals. And they have been able to check their connections, use the different meters, use the connections, and definitely move ahead with the course. So this is how it went about. But initial lectures, it was really difficult. But I'm fortunate enough that I got some good student participation this time, unlike my previous assignments, where students were mostly muted and they were not even participative as well. So gradually, we are trying to engage our lecture, break the monotony by asking them some questions, some clarifications, or showing them some practical things in the lecture itself, and giving them some quiz questions, giving them some short quizzes. So likewise, we can have the engagements of the students. We have been able to engage them also through some assignments as well, some small assignments and one term paper which we have given to make them interpret what is in there in the paper, and reflect on some uh, some of the important concepts that are described in a particular research article. So this is how we try to engage them, make them participate. And of course, if you have a class of a non-technical course like the post-graduation level, or you're a master's of business administration, definitely you can go in for some group discussions, some seminars or something of that sort, which we normally practice in our post graduation study as well. So, this is how we have come across these particular developments in our professional courses. One of my cousins is presently pursuing MSc in microbiology, and he has not reached the institute for the I think for the last 1.5 years, and he is almost at the completion phase of his MSc in microbiology. So you can imagine of this situation, and the use of virtual laboratories. Definitely, these are coming up these days. I think there are few. Top institutes, they have been able to develop certain simulations or certain virtual laboratories in their campus, so that even if the students are not going to attend the labs, they can enjoy and they can learn the things from their virtual laboratories. I think few of our premier institutes, they are already at the starting point of development of some virtual laboratories as well. So this is how we can move ahead, and we can discuss the things. We can sit with the students. We can have some counseling of the students at certain times. Some students require some counseling as well. So some definitely, when we are in the online mode, or when we are not seeing the students physically, definitely some uh, certain mismatches are definitely there, which we need to recover as well. So we may expect today, we are expecting today some question answers, some good questions from the participants as well. And we will be expecting today, because today's discussion, it's always a debatable. So will we call it an endemic, or we will call it, no, it's a flow of pandemic, it is continuing, and how we can adapt to the pandemic situation also. You may come up with things. And apart from that, there are several we have tried, several modes by virtue of which we have tried. And several of our colleagues, they also tried it out. It's not that we are getting 100% success always, never possible. But still, we will try to improve ourselves. We are always in the teaching profession, and we are in the learning profession. So definitely, we are focused towards learning new things. And we are experiencing some technological changes. We were also not conversant to, and now we are frequently getting conversed to the different kind of situations, the different online platforms that we are using. And after that, we may also uh, be subjecting it to the different conditions that the students are practically in. Because I have heard a student who left the premises and went home, and her parents got positive and she's not. Think of this situation, and we are having some sessional exams, we are having some online quizzes, and we were having some semester exams to follow in the next month, in the beginning of the next month. So how she is managing her household, and how difficult the situation is when she has to remain isolated from her parents too, and at the same time maintain her studies as well. So of course, there are some difficult situations, there are some casualties as well in our student front. And also their parents got infected, uh, also died in between. So they had to face certain difficult situations in their life so early in their life, when they're at their twins. And probably the first year students, they are of this age group, we have started vaccinating in our country. So they are also not fully vaccinated also. So this was the risk that was considered. But definitely offline meetings or offline lectures definitely have helped them a lot, and I hope that they will do better in the years to come. So we will now go ahead for the master degree courses, the master's program. And in this case, we will give you a very short example, by virtue of which we will be able to tell you, because I had personally interacted with some university, but I'll not name the university. It's an university in Singapore, who has stopped their course on travel and tourism management. Okay, they have stopped their course on travel and tourism management, with the prospect that the situation of the COVID, how it's going, it's not fruitful for a person who is studying a postgraduate diploma or a diploma in travel and tourism management, should go on, and better they should move on for the discussions on uh, we uh, we they switched over those students in their courses to either marketing or other specializations of the management area. So this is one of the serious issues that we may also think, that how bad will be the situation in case your faculty member is from travel and tourism background, right? So he cannot all of a sudden change his career, right? At the mid 40s or mid 50s, he cannot change a career. But the things must move on, because if such is the situation, such is the placement prospect in the years to come, definitely they are thinking in that way, that they have decided to drop down one of the specializations that is focused on hospitality, and that is focused on the tourism management. Because with the world being isolated, remaining isolated, everyone is staying at his home. So there is obviously hardly any chance for them to go out and enjoy the holidays. Although few people are doing, and also getting infected in the process. So this is how the things are going. So obviously the master's program, definitely I've given an example which is very close to my family, that he is being studying for the last 3 semesters. It is always is final semester now, and he is in the dissertation stage. And it's a microbiology course. So obviously microbiology course will involve a lot of practicals, and how they are managing, or how they're using the virtual laboratories to explain them thoroughly, the different aspects, along with the theoretical discussions. So it's of course a difficult time, then, but definitely some things will come out. And definitely uh, any student who is pursuing such type of course in the online environment must also be placed. So it is an equal accountability on the part of the institute or the university or the education sector to place them, to make them employable as well in the process. So these type of difficulties that we had been facing, and even our master's program we had reduced the our intake as per the intake. The uh, I think there were very few seats which were filled this year. Last year it was good. We had good admission in our postgraduate and masters of engineering in power systems. So, but this time it really went bad, and there were only few students who had got admissions. So they are not. So there is a dropout in the enrollments in the higher education sector as well. So we are also facing the situation in terms of the PhD candidates that get enrolled in our department or in our institute as well. So we are in shortage of students. We are not getting a single student almost for 2 semesters now. Myself, we are not getting it because there is no student turning up, right, for higher studies. So there is definitely a drop in the enrollment, and I think it's almost 3% in India, or in the overall scenario. I cannot recall at this point of time, but maybe that this is the dropout ratio of the students in the higher education sector. So definitely it's slightly a concern for all of us. But you should always look into the brighter side of it. I have been associated with so many faculty members at our institute. It's almost close to 500 at this point of time, and we have been interacting with each other, certain situations, certain difficulties, and we have got something very new, and a part of it we had been practicing also for our research discussions as well. So there was some person from theoretical physics. So once he told me that previously what we used to do, when a student, be it in MSc physics or in PhD program, once he or she gets enrolled to me for the dissertation work, for the thesis work, what I do normally, I teach them the proper mathematics, or the particular parts that are they required for or some preliminary works or preliminary studies, or some background work that has been established. So every time he used to do it on a piece of pen and paper, right? So now what he's has he done, he has recorded that particular session in Zoom. He interacted with the students, and he has recorded the session in the Zoom, and of course that recording is being shared. So how fruitful that information can be for the coming students in years to come. So we can always make use of it. We will also talk about overleaf platform, which I had been using with my undergraduate student in order to write a research article. So that is basically a platform in the latex. When you write your paper or research article in latex, definitely it will be helpful that you are using parallelly. At least I think three or four of us, we shared the information, whatever developments that were taking place in the research article, we shared it through the Overleaf platform as well. We will also talk about that platform in details, where we need to create some login, and we can parallelly see it, and we can parallelly edit that also. So this is how we have to think of some alternative ways or some alternative tricks by virtue of which we will be able to succeed in our years to come with the illness that we have been facing. So these are some of the impacts that I told you on the professional courses, about some of the master degree programs, say for example travel and tourism management, that I told you that I have experienced that particular thing, that they have simply dropped out the specialization of travel and tourism management, or perhaps the course was on hospitality management, that was completely omitted. And the students who got enrolled in that particular course, they were shifted to different specializations depending upon their choice. And of course this is a master's program involves some element of research, some elements of higher studies, and definitely this should not suffer with the pandemic situation that we are already in. And of course PhD programs, we will be keeping a discussion on the PhD research areas, and we will be talking about some of the common areas that or the thrust areas, and how we can make use of the online resources in order to develop those things. So, first of all, we will talk about uh, some of the some of the aspects related to the teaching. We are already, all of us, those who are in teaching profession, they are already aware of the online lectures and the online courses. They have perhaps attended, they have been attending some webinars where there are short webinars like say 1 hour or 2 hour sessions. They are also getting enrolled in some short term courses, maybe of 3 days workshop, maybe it is a 7 days or a 5 days FDP as well, faculty development program. So these type of things have been very quite popular these days, and we all have been using different online platforms like Zoom or Gmeet or even your WebEx. All these platforms, or StreamYard, that as I'm currently using right now for my presentation too. So these sort of all platforms we are getting used to in our daily life, and we have come across certain benefits of it as well. How? Because there are some big shots or big professors which we have been able to, in this particular pandemic situation, we have been able to get access of their lectures online, and we have been able to attend their webinars or their short-term courses as well. There are some platforms, some of the platforms you might have heard already, but they are getting really popular, like Coursera is a very important platform developed by Stanford University in US, and there are several professors from MIT and your Stanford itself, some European universities as well, who are having some courses, some online deliveries, and that you can attend, that you can take up, and there's enough flexibility for you whether you want a certificate or whether you want to just upgrade yourself. So definitely, if you want to upgrade yourself at free of cost, but if it is that you require a certification for it, there are several certification platforms that have been developed. Udemy was one of them when this online thing started. So Udemy is one of the platforms which I normally sometimes use also for my upgradation or for my up developments as well, or for some continuing education as well. So definitely you can access a plenty of courses that are available online these days. Say if I want to get a course on artificial intelligence, or if I want to get a course on machine learning techniques or something of that sort, if I want to get a course on data science, if I want to learn latex platform, so definitely there are several options for you now. So this options had been there. I'm not saying that Coursera wasn't there. Coursera already made inroads for the last 7 or 8 years, perhaps even more. But the popularity of these Coursera platforms or these Udemy platforms or these different softwares that are used for our online, mostly we haven't heard of Zoom when the pandemic situation started. All of us had been using Zoom or Zmeet as well, and there were several platforms to follow, because we are always into some conferences, some short term courses, some webinars where we are experiencing that they are using StreamYard, they are using Webex meeting, and all these type of platforms are already there. So virtual laboratories, as I told you earlier also, that virtual laboratories have been developed. There are several softwares that has come up. I think Tinkercad is one of them, which with the first year students or the second year students have been doing some project work on. And we have already our conferences taking place in hybrid mode. If the situation turns worse, definitely these are e-conferences or in virtual mode. And I think I had the opportunity of presenting as well as assisting my students in my presentations in some of the hybrid conferences that we had in our recent times. So 2021, it has been uh, almost 3 to 4 conferences, which I think we have been participating, or we had been presenting. In 2021, we have, I think, 3 or 4 at least in hybrid mode, and those are good conferences. Some international conferences, some international speakers as well. I had also been fortunate enough to be associated with some of the conferences where I have presented, where I have been invited as a keynote speaker or as a plenary speaker, and we had been able to deliver out there. And at least, I think, if I can recall, in 2020 and 2021, it's almost 30 plus. Where I have been presented, or where I have been invited as an invited speaker. So this is how the things have changed. The total scenario has changed, and how much we had it before the pre-pandemic. There was only in a year or two we expected 1 or 2 invitations as well. So definitely these things have cropped up. It's a benefit also for the students, for the participants, to get access of some beautiful speakers. Say for example, there is one example which I can recall. I'll be having a conference paper to be presented in the month of February, and that conference is taking place in the hybrid mode. Uh, and that particular conference, we have a keynote speaker who is a very renowned person from UK. And fortunately, my thesis evaluation was done by him. So immediately when I saw that he's one of the keynote speakers, immediately I sent a paper research article to that conference, so that I can also attend him online as well, because it will be a really good exposure, and because he's one of the top cited researchers in my area of research in soft computing. So when I looked into that particular aspect, so obviously I'll definitely join that particular conference to attend him online, to listen to him, get the new research outputs from his research labs. Definitely I'll try to get as much as I can from his lecture. So this is how the things go about it. So fortunately, we have been able to invite him in India, and he will be presenting it online in the month of February. So this is how it goes. We'll be in the same platform, and we'll be able to share. He'll be able to share his views, his research outputs, his latest trends in research. Definitely, it will be a good exposure for me as well. So this is how the things are going about, and we have been getting the benefits of these conferences in hybrid mode, or some virtual conferences. And we I think Indian Institute of Technology Kanpur had started doing the virtual laboratories. There are several IITs also who has come up with this idea of virtual laboratories. uh, definitely it is definitely it is a tremendous help for some new budding engineers. Definitely, I should coin the term as new budding engineers, because whatever laboratory exercises we had been doing it offline had been completely turned due to the situation that we have been facing in the last 3 years. That has mostly been done online, and there are also some benefits as well. Say for example, when I go through an experiment offline, I'm a student, I'm going through it offline, and I'm learning it out there. I'm taking some readings, I'm observing some graphs, or making some graphs out of those readings. We are having some conclusions, and after 1.5 months, maybe I am being evaluated, right? So now, with the use of virtual mode, or with the use of the virtual laboratories, or with the virtual mode of delivery of these particular lab sessions, what we are able to do, we are able to record that particular session, and we are also to deliver it through their drive link, so that they can also access these materials anytime, right? Similar cases of which we are able to get it through our online lectures as well. We are able to record our session and deliver it to the students. So if they have any confusion, they can also go through the video and check out that particular moment where I have discussed something. and they are able to recollect the things and they are able to learn it. So it is a very good exposure, I think, with the involvement of online plus offline mode. Definitely they are able to exercise, or they are able to take the maximum benefits out of me also, and it is similar for other teachers as well. So these are some of the developments that we have highlighted upon. Mostly we talked about the online lectures and the different online courses that we had been doing. And there are several webinars in which we are also presenting. We are attending also some short-term courses as well, some FDPs, some of the virtual laboratories, some softwares. We are engaging the students. Say, for example, we had an experiential learning activity in our institute where we did some IoT based home automation through some new software. So students have come up with brilliant ideas. We had only given the exposure of the software, and they'd come up with brilliant ideas that how to do, or how to home automate your, if you are in a dining space, or if you are in a bedroom, and what should be the switching arrangement, how should be the cooling arrangement, whether we use some geysers also, so if it's running beyond temperature, so how to put it off also. Some brilliant ideas that we got also from the students perspective as well. So this is how things go about, and they are very quick learners because they are already in their mostly they are in the age group of 17 or 18, or between 17 to 20. So naturally they are keen to learn also. So if they are being exposed to some new platforms, some software platforms, definitely they learn more better than us even. And of course we have been gaining from our conferences too, because once we have conferences in hybrid mode or virtual mode, or uh, uh, some questions, say for example, uh, I had a conference last December, I think. In the month of December we had it in Serbia. So it was almost not possible for me to travel to Serbia or Belgrade to present a poster or something of that sort. So definitely I chose the virtual mode, or I chose the uh, mode in which we can deliver online. And there was a platform which was there, of course, and there are several professors who had been doing it also. They had been uh, doing it for the success, and every prepper that was there, every research article that was presented in the conference, they were put on the website as well. So they had been already been practicing uh, these type of events, and they had been doing it for the last, I think, 2 years repeatedly. I think they had it in 2020. First of all, I didn't get the information of that, but when I attended in 2021, I could find that there are several top researchers in the world. They have been participating, and they had been getting the benefits out of this conference through the hybrid mode, and also some good research ideas that we had been able to see through this particular conference. Now, moving ahead for the pandemic developments, as we have talked already. Now we will talk about some of the interesting evaluations that uh, we had been practicing for our students. We had been taking in, since we are using the Zoom platform as our official mode. We have been able to take some poll questions. So what is this poll question all about? Say for example, we want to take some opinion of the students, or we want to reflect on whether our students are listening to our lectures, or they are just engaging for the sake of engagement. So we can test them through some poll questions. Those are the options available in the Zoom platform. So we can have some poll questions. We can ask some small quizzes, some 1 minute or 2 minute quizzes for one or two questions, on which they should reflect upon. So this is how some engagement or some breaking the monotony. We call it breaking the monotony of the class. And the way to do it is to go through some quizzes in between, some questions in between, some pop-up questions in between, some poll questions in between. So definitely this is one of the challenges that we were facing earlier. So we had been able to take some continuous evaluation through some poll questions as well. Viva voce. This is an important aspect when we are teaching any course that has practical aspects. So we require to take some viva voce, or some interviews, some sort of interactions with the students, where we ask them some concepts, what they have learned, and how they have been able to do or perform an experiment, both in offline mode or in online mode, whatever they have been doing, and what learning or the takeaways they have taken out of the experiment. So some practical aspects, say how will I connect to my wattmeter, or how will I connect to my voltmeter or ammeter to measure some voltage or current, or uh, uh, some power as well. So these sort of questions, some practical questions, definitely will be there as a part. And this we had been practicing in the breakout rooms. So what is the benefit of using this breakout room is that we have been able to isolate the students. Say, for example, I have allotted some experiment to a group of students, say 3 and 4 students have been allotted with the same experiment in a particular group. So I choose those students and asked them some common questions, evaluated them, and made them free as well. So in the meantime, we can have some other chat rooms being open, so they can mutually discuss as well in the chat rooms as well. So this is how they can make use of the breakout rooms. Some discussions, say for example, if I do any activity sort of thing, a sort of question, or some sort of practice questions for them. So of course, when we are giving them a practice question, definitely they must do it individually. So in order to do them individually, we can allocate some groups, and we have this provision also in the Zoom. They can exercise that, they can make use of the breakout rooms in order to discuss. And this also took place in the tutorial sessions as well. The tutorial sessions had some, say, 5 or 6 problems which we are supposed to, which the students are supposed to solve in a 50 minutes time, or 45 minutes to 50 minutes time. So obviously when they enter the class, we allocated some problem numbers. Say question number one should be done by so and so people, question number two should be done by so and so people, and then they interacted with each other, and they come up with the solutions. And after, say, 20-25 minutes, we are getting all the solutions of and discuss them all in front of them, so that they can also get the benefit on. All the students are also we created an ambience of group study in the process, so that they are able to learn the things or the concepts as well. So this is how we go about it. Apart from that, we have already been practicing some quizzes for the students, maybe chapter wise quizzes, so that they can learn, and they are not lagging behind on a particular part. So that is also being ensured, that when we check chapter wise quizzes, some practical questions, some numerical problems which they are solving through their Google Forms, or through their through the platform that we had been already using, that is a learning management system platform, LMS platform we call it over here. So these platforms are being used, of course, to perform the quizzes as well. So quizzing is one of the important aspects that has become, that how well they have learned, how they have been able to adapt to the new concepts which we have taught them. And that is why they will be able to verify. Of course, assignments, this time I have tested the students with some individual assignments as well. If the students group size is small enough, we can practice always. Our participants can always practice. If it's a class size is small enough, say for example, if it's a post graduation course, or any course which is an elective course opted by less than 20 to 20, 15 people, or to 20 people, or even up to 30, we can also practice in some group assignments as well. So assignments is also good practice, by virtue of which they can nurture their skills. They can learn something about the theory part, and they can uh, get to the things. They can have some concepts, they can have their skill sets, everything being tested, their level of understanding, their level of developing some analytical skills where they need to solve certain problems. Say, for example, I was teaching a course on machine design where I had only 4 students. So what I did in the assignment section, we gave them some problems which were related to different machines. Say, for example, one did on synchronous machine, the other did on transformer design, the other did on induction machine, likewise. So what benefit that we had been able to get is that they are doing it from scratch individually, first of all, and we have also made them aware that how can you can do it using the computer aided techniques these days. So they have been able to make use of either C++ or the MATLAB coding, so to design that particular machine. And finally, giving it a realistic look, we have asked them also to prepare the data sheet or prepare the complete design specifications through some chart or something of that sort to reflect on what they have been able to perform. So they have come up with some good results as well. So they have tried their best, and they have been able to make use of certain standards. Some engineering standards were made use of in the process, and with this they have been able to satisfactorily get to the assignments completely satisfactorily. So this is how the things go about it. But if it should be tested for a small class size, not more than 2025, because individual assignments you have to also correct it as well. Because when I did the assignment part on our uh, bigger size, it was the same questions to be given, because of course some disparity with respect to the level of the questions also can be there from the student perspective. My questions were difficult, he has been getting easy questions, like that. There's some comparison or something of that sort that can be sorted out that way. So we try to ensure that the questions are difficult enough so that it is not offered. They have to take certain books or consult certain books in their libraries, and they have been able to they will be able to satisfactorily do it, unless and until they grow through the theories, the concepts, and everything. So we had ensured that in a bigger class size of 65, I think, and we had been able to successfully get marks in the range of varying between 3 4 out of 10 to almost 8 or 9, who had been doing it satisfactorily, and which they have with full confidence they have been able to do it. So we are able to grade them separately, or we have been able to. It's not that always you get the same answers, but definitely when you have a bigger class size, there is obviously a problem of cheating that cannot be avoided completely. So this is how that countermeasure you have to take, and that thing you have to deliver definitely. Uh, for other modes by virtue of which we can also evaluate is through presentations or seminars. This is applicable for definitely for the masters and the postgraduate students, or even your PhD scholars. We can take some online presentations, online seminars from time to time to check their progress of work, to that how far they have progressed with their work, or how far they have gone through their research studies as well. So this kind of ambience should be there. This kind of practice should be there definitely, to make them I think they should be more free to be questioned, and in the process, they are also learning. So when I put a question to them, or when anyway, when any teacher or a panel of teachers, they are asking some questions, whether they have been able to understand the concept with which they are proceeding for their research. Definitely, they are also learning a bit. So this is how we can also take some seminars or presentations in between, some weekly presentations or some monthly presentations, to improve their skills of presentation, as well as to understand the concepts and to learn the things and the questions that followed, or the queries that are there from the panel of the jury members. They have been able to try to address, whether they have been able to address those issues, or they can come up with the next in their next presentation as well. So this is how we can get some evaluations for the postgraduate students, for the master degree students, for the PhD level students, by virtue of which we can also get the student involvement or participate in the make them participate in the research studies as well. Another important concept which we normally do it for the postgraduate students or the master's student is a term paper. Means the students are supposed to write any article. Say, for example, if it's on the any technical presentation or any topic they choose, and based on that they can write something on it, their interpretations definitely. And I have tried to address this time with the first year students as well, gave them a research article and asked them to make their own interpretations about their paper. And there are few, of course there are few who has come up with some brilliant ideas that we can implement them in our future studies or in our future research aspects as well. So basically it was a paper given on electrostatic phenomena, and they were supposed to make their own interpretations about the capacitances that are connected, whether it's a circular plate capacitor or whether it's a parallel plate capacitor, and what kind of mathematical calculations were there. It was my research article with a BTech student, of course, in this institute. And with this, we can get the judgment of the students that whether your undergraduate students are able to excel well in your research as well. So time has come definitely for some research ambience, because we are seeing a massive change in the teaching arena. So when we started our career way back in 2004 or 2005, maybe we didn't have any of our research profile of attending conferences. We were mainly focused to attending some short-term programs. Those were it depends that whether the funding is available or not, that then only we used to go. We were completely focused towards teaching, and gradually the things are being changing, and we are moving on more and more into the research domain, and more students are there coming for their different research areas. We are also exploring new research areas, new research trends, and in the process we'll definitely be getting we are also learning something new from the students, some concepts that are there with the students, and we are able to develop ourselves in the process as well. So it is always a learning curve being in your teaching profession, and the way the things are changing. So, say for example, at certain point of time there was no requirement of research articles for a PhD to be defended. Now we are getting one or two or even three sometimes, some good top level journals. And sometimes even our expectations are there that a student must also carry out some hands on, some design, and that can be patented as well. So these type of developments are taking place in the process. These type of developments are already taking place in the process, and we are also talking about technology transfer, how much technology transfer is taking place through our research, our thrust areas, whether we are able to focus on our thrust areas, because the thrust areas are also changing day by day. It depends upon, at certain point of time we were focusing on renewable energies. Now we are focusing on biomedical implementations, because with the COVID situation, definitely that is a prospective thrust area where we can think of getting some funding for the projects, and where we can explore more and more on the AI based techniques and machine learning techniques. And the data science also is an important thrust area. And another important area is that will be coming up in our days to come is our electric vehicle. Quantum computing is one of the thrust areas which is expected to make inroads in our coming years. So these type of things, and once we have electric vehicles, we'll definitely have the exposure to the battery management system, which will be an important thrust area. And when we talk about battery management, definitely the material study will be also an important or key factor in the process as well. So these type of developments are already taking place in our research domain as well. And uh, our teaching is not focused only to teaching certain subjects or certain areas, or undergo some research based on the specializations that we are having, or some new areas that we are creating. And it is always not a single research area that we can survive upon. So with the changes, that with the developments that are taking place over the years, so we cannot focus on a single research area as of now, that we will stick to this area. We will be focusing on will be focusing on a single research domain to survive for the next 20 25 years. So obviously the technological changes that are getting upgraded, and that we have to cope up with that particular situation as well. So we are in the process of getting accustomed to the new technologies, new inroads that have already taken place in due to the COVID situations as well. So now we will focus. I think we have almost discussed mostly the points related to the pandemic situation, related to the online environment that we are getting through. Now is the time that how we can explore our research being in the online platform. So what are the modes by virtue of which we can interact with our research scholars, or you being the teacher, how will you interact with your research scholar, develop some new ideas, and how will you brainstorm those ideas, and how we will go about in this particular field. And of course, we have been discussing earlier that we have already made use of the Zoom sessions, or we have made use of the Google Meet sessions, interactions with the scholars. There was a time when we started with developing some research explorations, or right, we thought of that, why don't we promote to our research ideas to our undergraduate students. And with this, we had started developing one particular society, student society led by students in our institute, which focuses on promoting some research ideas from the undergraduate students. And we started with only 4 or 5 students, and with whom we started in 2019, and it's a long way forward, and we had been able to get a very good research output from the persons whom which we had started with. And we had been continuing also with some third year students. At present they are in third year now, and one person is already got some good offer in an integrated PhD program in IIT Delhi as well. So we had this idea in mind, that how to promote some, if we are able to target, say, all undergraduate students cannot go into the research domain. So there will be only 5% or 10% takers. And so with this we started. We explored some of the areas like big data. We explored some of the areas like smart healthcare system. We explored the area of industry 4.0, or industry revolution that is taking place in the manufacturing sector, or smart manufacturing we are calling it. So we explored certain areas. And just as I told you, that it's, you cannot get yourself restricted only to a single area of research these days. So we have been able to explore. And due to the COVID situations of years, of course, starting from when we started it, it was in October 2019, where we mm, discussed with some of the students, some of the first year, second year, or third year students, with whom we had interacted, and with which we had started this particular journey of Eureka. And in which we were discussing some of the research ideas with them. We discussed through the Zoom meetings later on, because after March 2020, they were in online mode. We had a lockdown for almost 3 months, almost 90 days. We had a lockdown. So obviously, it will be a part that we discussed most of our research ideas through the Zoom interactions. And we had been also being able to address the reviewer comments also in some research articles through the Zoom interactions as well. So this was a benefit that we had of Zoom, or the online platforms that we are making use of. So of course we cannot have hardware through development of new hardware through during this pandemic situation. Of course we were not able to do that, but still we had made certain areas like reviewing certain articles, writing certain book chapters, or some simulation based studies, some real time simulations. We for example, we had been using the OpenRT software, the real time software that we had been using in our labs to develop some real time simulations of different experiments as well. So this is how we have to think of an alternative solution if the situation is there, if the situation persists, or if you are stuck at your home and if you are not able to move on. We have to think about how we have been able to access some journal articles or some research books, how we are able to make use of some of the online coding platforms as well. Say for example, we had been using GitHub, or we has been using MathWorks. These are the two popular platforms in the MATLAB, where the MATLAB codes are available of the research uh, uh, persons. They upload their coding so that their papers also get cited as well. So they have their own choice, we learn it from there itself. So several online coding platforms, we get the access of the online coding platforms as well. We can remotely access the journal papers as well. Our university or our institute has given provision for the remote access options as well as during this pandemic situation as well, because some faculty may have gone to their hometown. They are COVID infected, and they have to uh, uh, write upon a research article or have some discussions, address some review comments. So some remote access facilities must be available to them as well. So the institute has been supportive enough to give certain research ideas or certain promotions to this remote access facilities in our campus as well. So when even for the grading system as well, there has been recent remote access facilities being available for the grading system as well, for the uploading of the marks as well, and for the grading systems as well. Just as I told you, I had been using Overleaf platform. I have not used Google Docs too much, but mostly our research scholars, which we have got in recent times, they had been writing paper research articles in LaTeX platform. So that is a platform which can be accessed online as well through Overleaf media, where we can communicate, interact, and in the Overleaf platform, you need to set your own user ID, and you can give access to your students, or students will write something on it, and you can correct it online as well. So this was a benefit which we utilized in our recent times, in our recent uh, I think 2020 we had been using it. 2021 as well, almost a year that we had acceptances, and we had our book chapters or research articles being published. So it has been a roller coaster ride also for me. In the last 2 years in the research front as well, we had been able to explore. I'm telling you, we have been able to explore the areas like model order reduction. We had been able to explore the areas of controller design as well, and we had got very good publication in the research front as well during this pandemic situation. So why not take it in a positive way? Whether it's a pandemic or endemic doesn't matter, that we have understood and we have tried to make use of the maximum benefit. We have to take the benefit of using it either in online or offline mode. Definitely one of my PhD scholar, she had completed her publication requirements last year, and it was almost five research articles that were published during the pandemic situation, and we had it almost in a span uh, of course, in a span of 1.5 years, she had been communicating, and we have finally got the publications till 2021. I think November. We had the last publication in November, month of November as well. So this is how it goes about. Maybe that they have she has done it in simulation, because there was no provision also for her to attend and attend the labs or develop some experimental setup. So this was a lacuna. Maybe she will be doing her research areas ahead in some serving some institute or something of that sort. So maybe with that, we can she can explore her skills, or she can explore her abilities in the offline mode as well. So these are some of the areas that we can focus on, that we can take it up, that we can conduct the research online through Zoom interactions, through Overleaf, or even Google Docs can also be used. If you're not accustomed to LaTeX platform, you can of course use the Google Docs also to edit online, and make it using different colors, so that for the different researchers, we have been able to, I think, collaborate with some of the researchers. Those are present in different parts of our country. Say, for example, in the eastern side, we in NIT Silchar, we have one of our collaborators who had been working with me. One of my collaborators is also working in Gujarat. Somebody in Rajasthan as well. So different states of the country, we had been able to collaborate, and nobody has met. All are in a virtual mode, and we have been able to collaborate successfully and get our products or processes being patented as well. Somebody is also in Orissa with whom I worked, and that was the development of some telemedicine app to empower the feature of telemedicine for the rural areas in Orissa as well. So this is how you we haven't met each other. We haven't met each other so far, but we have been able to do it online as well. So using the facilities that it depends upon the situation, whether it's in the offline mode or online mode. You have to take benefit of the situation and try to move ahead, try to keep your higher education moving, right? So this is how we had been practicing, we had been doing it together. And these are there are certain trust areas as well that you can focus upon, that you can think upon. So I should always say that AI and ML, because we had been able to with two renowned professors, one from our department and one from some university in Australia. We had been able to submit a research proposal, that is a research grant offered by Google, a research Google Scholar Research Program, that we had been able to submit our new research ideas on cloud computing based virtual machine development. So uh, you have to think in that way, that whether how we are able to implement some optimization techniques, some new optimization algorithms, some AI based techniques that will facilitate Google, or that will facilitate any software based companies as well, or these online platforms as well. Because we are heading towards an area of artificial intelligence, data science, machine learning, and all these will definitely be our thrust areas or running areas for the next 15 years to come. Quantum computing, of course, when we heard about quantum computing for the first time I think in some program, I have heard the term quantum computing, and that will rule the world. And of course, we are finding some research articles, some quality research articles being already being published in the area of quantum computing, with electric vehicles making some inroads. But there are still issues on batteries, and battery management system is one of the important thrust areas that you can look on, and for to take your research ahead. So this is how you have to think of your new research domains. You have to think of your new research areas, and with this. We should also think of development of some new materials. Say, for example, I can quote you one of the research articles which we had. Uh, Apart from lithium ion batteries, which we normally use for the electric vehicles, we can also use an alternative as zinc ion batteries. So this has been pretty successful as far as some research article being carried out by some Chinese people. Those in a particular university in China. I don't recall the name of the professor that has been that they have made already made some inroads with the development of zinc ion batteries. Uh, so these type of things, you have to innovate, you have to keep things moving. Renewable energies, of course, in years to come, in 2020-50, we can expect a good penetration of renewable energy, be it solar, be it wind, be it biomass. So these type of penetrations are definitely, so you have to think over that what your government is funding on, some funding or opening some funding opportunities for you. In India, we have it as a Department of Science and Technology, called DST. So we have CSIR, other research organizations available for us. So similar organizations definitely will be part of your part of your research program or part of your funding agencies in the different countries. We have different funding agencies, so where we can collaborate, or we can collaborate with the different uh, persons from the same area, and we can from the same background. And definitely I'm telling you that with the changes taking place, definitely biomedical will rule the world. So definitely some new portable devices, be it in terms of COVID, be it in terms of some other biomedical facilities available, will definitely earn you a good funding in the coming years. So this is definitely way that we can move ahead on. And but definitely, of course, offline lectures or offline mode of study in higher education is, of course, playing a crucial role. And we have to also ensure that when we are having the pandemic situation for the last existing for the last 3 years almost, and so of course we can expect that how is the performance of the student when he is going undergoing a BTech course of 4 years, and that too in online mode. So what how the things go about it. So that is also some at certain point of time we also need to think that how well our students are able to adapt to the online situation and able to learn the important concepts that will help them to secure their jobs, because ultimately when unless and until they have jobs in the at the end of their career, at the end of their BTech course, definitely it will be our efforts will definitely be go in vain. So definitely we have to make our students survive in this digital world. Digital learning ambience has already been created, and there are several organizations who decided that their employees should not come to our offices, and they are to go work from home. And they are also getting some benefits out of it. They are able to uh, cut down some prices with regard to the maintenance of their organizations, with regard to the maintenance of the electricity bill that they had been expanding on. So they are also thinking about pre-pandemic and post-pandemic times. They are also going through certain transformations as well. But there are some manufacturing sectors which has suffered a lot, and definitely manufacturing sectors will definitely cannot go on in online mode also, and unless it is fully completely automated. So with this we can wind up over here. And of course you can google it my name, and you can get my research profile and research publications at the recent times. And if you want to collaborate, definitely we are always ready for it. So with this, I hand over to IGP, and thanks IGP for giving me an opportunity to present before you some very nice interactive session. And of course, we'll be having some quiz time in between, and after that there will be some. I'll be expecting some tough questions for me at the end. Over to IGP.
Thank you, sir, for your marvelous presentation. Actually, in this pandemic situation, today's topics and your presentation is very helpful and encourage our participant in higher education. Thank you, sir.
I think we will go for the quiz now, right?
No, sir. Today we have no quiz competition, and after a short video
Okay.
clip, we come back to
Okay.
our question and answer session.
Okay. I'm ready for it. Okay. Fine.
Thank you, sir. Dear participant, after a short video clip, we come back to our question and answer session. Welcome back, sir.
Yeah.
Dear participant, it's question and answer session time. You can send your question in our comment box and make sure to put it one by one so that the speaker would understand it well. So, dear participant, if you have any question, please comment, put it in our comment box. Sir, we are wait for our first question.
Yeah, sure.
Participant are requested to ask their question in our comment box. Our brilliant speaker also ready to answer the question. Sir, our first question from Annie. Do
Mhm.
you think it's now safe to return to face classes despite having a new coronavirus?
Of course, the new corona variant is more infectious, but having less severity. So, of course, we were having offline mode of lectures between October to December. And by December end, we got into a pandemic situation, or we had a COVID outbreak in our institute, and we have to move to the online mode. So, of course, not safe at this point of time. Maybe a 1 month or 2 months from online classes. Definitely, we can see that if the severity is not enough, and if we are able to uh, get through the situation, and we expect our cases to be reduced thoroughly, then we can move to the face to face interaction. Of course, the face to face interaction has no other alternative. We have to move at certain point of time. We have to, definitely.
Thank you, sir. Our next question from Lamberto Filaten. Dr. Shovik Ganguly, what are the three important roles of universities or colleges in the promotion of resilient and relevant education in these pandemic times?
So definitely, the institutions or the education institutions, universities, be it colleges, be it schools, also definitely we have to uh, make our education relevant, and we have to devise certain educational strategies, and we have to depending upon or depending upon the demand of the situation that the students are having. Definitely, some digital mode of learning should be a part along with the offline mode. Even if even if you are having a pandemic non-pandemic situation as well, the digital learning that we had started definitely has helped us to almost reach at each and every part of our world, right? So definitely some definite guidelines, some definite guidelines, or some strategies, development of new strategies on the part of education institutions or universities or colleges must be there. And education must also be relevant, as the speaker had as a participant has pointed out, that definitely that must be resilient enough. And I could recall that one of our program educational objectives in our recent times had been amended, and keeping into account that unprecedented situation that student may undergo, we have to make the students resilient enough to undergo certain unprecedented situations that may linger on. And our education system must be relevant enough to undertake this pandemic situation as well. So, what do you, sir?
Thank you, sir. Our next question from Evelyn. Sir, do you think students are learning during pandemic? How authentic
Uh,
is their
this is a debatable question. Of course, sometimes you often get that students are not listening, and we have to take countermeasures, some punishments, or some rude words also for them. But sometimes the situation is truly pathetic out there at the student front also maybe their family is having some COVID cases or something of that sort, so they are also not able to just for the sake of engaging, they are engaging their classes. Definitely, some sort of compromise is of course there in terms of their learning strategies. But in case the students are active enough, if they are participative enough, if they are listening to the lectures, they are following the videos, they are going through their PPTs provided or the handouts being provided to them to the by the teachers, definitely the learning should be good enough. But obviously there is a dark point, of course, with regard to the authenticity in the learning process of the students, or how they are, whether they are using any unfair means at the background during their online tests as well. So definitely, some concern for the authenticity is definitely there. But definitely, we must think in a positive way, and we try to engage them in a positive way so that they are not exercising these unfair means too much, and they try to learn and try to engage themselves. Of course, we have to make them understand that it is for their benefit that we are moving for the online mode of lecture or the digital mode of learning. So of course they must have to pick out from that particular situation and learn. Over to you, Kamrul.
Thank you, sir. Our next question from Anadela. To the speaker,
Mhm.
do you agree that the education at this time of pandemic is not as good as education during face-to-face? Thank you, sir.
Okay. Once again, yes, definitely. I told you earlier in my delivery as well that offline mode of teaching has no alternative at all. So, of course, it has suffered definitely some learning process. Say, for example, if I can recall the way the pandemic situation started, when our department students or our engineering students were facing since the, I think, mid of second semester, they had started their lockdown and all those things have happened. And I think they have, when it's a second semester course, of course definitely they are at the prelims of their concept building phase of their engineering study. So definitely they have been able to face a lot of difficulties. Maybe they have been COVID infected, their family members have been COVID infected in the process. And we had a turmoil of lasting for almost 3 years. And there is a lighter side that we say that they are going for 3 years, so they are almost at the completion of their fourth year BTech as well. So COVID situation is definitely not a good uh, note for some batches of engineering as well as for the school education as well, because in India we find that I think for the last 2 years we are not having any exams of the school level to enter into the college. So those marks are based on some marks being given by the schools, offered by the schools. And likewise we do agree that education has suffered a lot. And we have to take some positive things out of it. Unless and until we take some positives out of it, it will be some good things definitely have taken place. Say, for example, I'll quote one name over here. One of my students, one of my brightest students, he has got admission directly in IIT Delhi. It's a premier institute in India. And he has got from his undergraduate study, he has taken direct admission in the PhD program. So he has joined the integrated PhD program. So that is a good part of it. He has also undergone the pandemic situation. He had published, I think, with me, he has published around 5 research articles in top rated journals. So this is the positive out of it, because but everything cannot be bad. So this is a positive out of it. So you have to take the positive things, and you have to filter out the negative thoughts about education, or the change in the time of pandemic, or it is not able to, because the teachers are already delivering. It's the part of the students, because students are not self learners these days. So it is a part of the students, it's a maturity of the student, it's the uh, way the students are learning, that is creating some problems, or that may create some problems in future. But the teachers are definitely truly making effort to make things work. Over to you, Kamrul.
Thank you, sir. Our next question from our ma'am Meribat De La Cruz. What measures can we use to avoid or stop cheating in an online learning to ensure quality education?
Yeah, sure. Definitely, cheating is one of the concerns that we are also experiencing. Sometimes we have to think of those days when we used to have open book exams, right? Think of those days. So have the questions of that sort to avoid cheating, because if it's an open book exam, and nowadays of course every resource that you type, you search in Google, you'll get some answers related to it. So it is also very important for a teacher to set or prepare some questions which are of that particular level, so as that cheating can be avoided. Definitely it is a menace, definitely, of online. And of course we had been able to take care successfully in 3 years time, by this time on. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. Our next question is to the speaker: do you find the new system of education effective?
Of course, some new things that we are also learning. Say we are participating in some short-term courses. We are also participating in some conferences in hybrid mode or in virtual mode. We are also learning. So why not take the positive things out of it? And of course, it cannot go permanently. That the new digital mode of learning, you cannot have technical courses online, but we can have some management courses online, some case studies that are taking place in the management courses, that can take place through some group discussions, through some online interactions. But of course technical courses, definitely that has suffered a lot. And of course the effects we'll get, because it is already in third year. So we are expecting some effects from next few years. Of course, definitely some batches will be there. Definitely those your placement companies will not be willing to take if they are not of appreciable quality. So it is equally we are also equally responsible for it. And not only the placement team, or not only the companies or the students should be blamed only, it is absolutely the blame on us also. If the students are not placed, definitely the around 50-60% placement should be on our part. That what we have not been able to inculcate to them appropriately the quality education through this teaching mode. So obviously new things will definitely come up, but of course we have to take out the positives from it.
Thank you, sir, for your brilliant presentation and excellent questioning answer. And also thank you from IGP to share your valuable time with us.
So it has been a second opportunity for me to serve IGP for the second time. We had it long back. Very good luck to you, and of course your efforts to uh, uh, provide a platform for online education, and provide a very good means by virtue of which we can also get benefited as well. Thank you so
Thank you, sir.
much.
We hope we'll meet together in another session in IGP.
Sure, I'll be happy to help.
Thank you, sir. Dear participant, today the topic is the role of higher education from pandemic to endemic, and the code is IGP 3763. The code is IGP 3763.